Welcome back to the Penrite ProMX Championships here at Wonthaggi, round one of the series. What a day we have got here. Riders out on the track. They're on their sight lap for the MX3, race number 2. I'll tell you what, this track is looking fantastic. It's only going to get better as the day goes on.
2021 sees the introduction of a brand new class into our motocross series. I'm here with Mark Luxic, Motocross Commissioner. Mark, can you explain a little bit what this MX3 is and how it's going to benefit the riders?
Yeah, sure, Danny. It's a new class. It really is an evolution of what we were doing in MXD for several years, which was basically our under-19 class. It's now called MX3 and it's under-18 class, so we've pushed people out of the class a bit early to move them into MX2. In addition to that, what we've done is actually got the guys who are juniors, who are 14 and 15 years of age, that can step up and have a crack at senior racing, enter an MX3 round as a senior, have some fun, experience the different level of racing, and then go back to juniors again if they want to. So it's a test. It's new, but I think it's going to open up a lot more opportunity and allow teams and riders to experience something new.
It's a great stepping stone for the younger riders. They're going to experience a lot of different stuff they wouldn't in juniors. We've got a massive field here. It looks like a really exciting class. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, definitely. As far as juniors' experience, this will be longer racing. They're normally used to much shorter races, so they're going to have longer racing. We're going to see some juniors who always have that speed but haven't experienced senior racing at more intense level, so they might surprise a lot of people and shake it up a little bit. Looking forward to it.
Well, here is our lineup for the MX3. Matthew Peluso, Justin Harrow, Cody Kilpatrick, Blake Walden, Jet Kipps, Cameron Steele, Nate Hicks, Patrick Martin, Seth Birchall and Ryder Kingsford, who really showed a lot of speed in the first race.
Ryder Kingsford was super impressive with a second place in race number 1. Of course, Blake Fox on the gas machine come up trumps in first. And Kobe Drew, relatively impressive back there in third. And we're ready for the drop of the gate here. Maxxis MX3 Moto 2, and we are off and running. A good start there from Ryder Kingsford. He looks like he's going to have the inside, and he's got the whole shot.
Great start, all riders through. They've done a little bit of prep since we've seen the first turn.
Who was that rider that just ducked up the inside there trying to pick him?
66.
That's Caden Minia.
And Towels there as well.
Minia looks like he's slotted up there into second place now. Connor Tao, you mentioned there, and also Benny Novak. Now, that's the start that Caden Minia needed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to tell you a little bit about this MX3 class. It's 14 to under 17 years category. It gives the chance for some young guns to sneak their way up and showcase their talents in, I guess, in front of all the factory teams, on live television, and have a look at this kid. He's the youngest in the field. He's trying to make his way up now into second place, and he had one of the fastest lap times in that first race. He come from the back of the pack and made his way up to near the front. We need to try to pick up where Blake Fox is.
Wow, did you see that moment there for Towel as they went through there? Whole shot goes to Caden Minia. He grabbed that start straight out there. But the one person we need to talk about is the guy in the middle of the screen at the moment. That is the 25 rider of Blake Fox, who won our Moto number 1. He has made 2 quick passes right there from 5th place. Now sits in 3rd, or now into 2nd straight away. And this is exactly what we expect out of him. All of these riders are the top riders that we expected to see up the front.
Well, Danny, with how convincing his victory was in Moto 1, we'd expect nothing less. He certainly didn't get the whole shot, but he is picking off riders one at a time, and he looks so at home. He's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger and stronger. You've got to remember, he's been a senior for a year and a half now. So we kind of expect him to be able to negotiate his way around the track a little bit stronger and a little bit cleaner than, say, a Caden Minia, who's 14 years old. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. So we've got to expect the odd mistake here or there from the younger kids, and we've got to respect the age difference between the 14 and the 17-year-olds. And we see here right now, we're seeing a challenge for the lead already as Blake Fox has edged his way up now onto the back of Ryder Kingsford.
Yeah, Kingsford looks really good, doesn't he, at the moment, but he's got plenty of pressure at the moment. Up the inside, nice line.
Forceful move.
Very nice line there by Blake Fox. He moves himself in the lead, but Kingsford back up the inside, doesn't want to give it up just quite yet. But I tell you what, this is a great opportunity for Kingsford just to jump on the back wheel and start to learn. Pick up some of that pace. You never realise how fast you can go until you jump onto the back wheel of someone that is that little bit faster than you. And I'm sure right now he's going to learn a lot from sitting in behind Blake Fox.
But look at Minia all over the back of Connor Towell at the moment, trying to make a passing move here. He's going from the outside back to the inside.
Oh,
that was a creative line right there.
That was incredible. That's a professional line right there. To be able to find that early in the race. Oh, almost a mistake in going down.
Connor Towell, yeah, number 22. And Mini is trying to set up a pass around the outside, and that was very cleanly done. Benny Novak's trying to get a 2-for-1 deal going on here, but it didn't quite happen as Caden Minia manages to latch into that position there, and he will slot himself up into a solid 3rd place now.
And give you an idea of the positions on the track. This camera is around about the middle. The camera before was on the left. We're going from a camera position that has no rain at all, and then a camera that does have complete rain, and it just keeps blowing in that fast here today. And I think we'll see a little bit more rain in this race, but this battle isn't done just yet. Novak, this is a much better ride than we saw out of him in Moto number 1.
Yeah, it certainly is. Benny Novak looks to have the bit between his teeth at the moment. Very impressive. I think with Caden Minia, we've got to remember he comes from Western Australia. He's a sand groper. He loves this type of stuff. He loves it even deeper sand than this, right? But he's so young that sometimes you can get a little bit caught up in the hype, you know, get the red mist in the goggles, etc. And he just needs to settle into a bit of a race rhythm. And that's what we saw from him in the first one. He made a mistake. He come from nearly last, made his way all the way up to 4th place, then dropped back to 6th, then had to charge back up again. Now, I don't care how fit you are or how fast you are, that kind of energy on a track like this, you just can't afford to waste it and tear it up like that.
It's draining, very, very draining, as we look at a few more of these guys. And there's plenty of battles everywhere in this class at the moment, isn't it? So all of these guys are going to be benefiting from this kind of racecraft that they're learning on a track like this. Now, we mentioned earlier that they don't get a chance to ride these kinds of tracks. You know, this is pro-level track. It is so rough at the moment, and these kids and you know, young adults, they just don't get a chance to experience this stuff. But have a look at the battle up front. This is fantastic.
Well, Ryder Kingsford just switched up his laps totally there. A mistake from Blake Fox. And Ryder Kingsford has pounced. Now, this is thrown a cat amongst the pigeons. How will Blake Fox respond to this? Now, he is, in a sense, in this class, he's almost the seasoned veteran, right? Now, I remember back a couple of years ago at the National Junior Championships in Gilman in South Australia, when a rider by the name of Alex Larwood threw it very hard at Blake Fox. As we see a little bit of a replay here, let's watch it, the move. It was a combination of a good line choice by Ryder Kingsford, combined with a little mistake from Blake Fox. But when opportunity presents itself, you have to grab it.
As we see another rider going down there, it looks like maybe the number 4 rider of Cody Kilpatrick. And you know what? That seems like it's in a pretty straightforward area. Very slippery, I would assume, with that the mud that's been developed after all of this rain, taking quite some time to get going. One thing we do need to talk about is the fact that you've already said that we're already into lapped riders, but the lapped riders can play a massive part in this overall outcome of this race. You know, the first guy that does come to greet these lapped riders is our leader of Kingsford. Most of the time, the lapped riders don't realise that they're being lapped, and they will try and race the rider coming up behind them. That can only put a lot of pressure on the leader and also slow him down, or even take him out if he's not careful. So these sort of situations have got to be calculated as he comes up to these riders and get through them as clean as possible without being held up too much.
Well, he really is looking like a seasoned veteran out at the head of the pack at the moment, Ryder Kingsford. He really hasn't put a foot wrong other than the odd little foot dab here or there, but I like how he can chop and change his lines on the track. It's really good vision, and it's the kind of skill that we expect from riders a lot older than him. Also interesting to note, the last lap, Blake Fox has picked the pace up to the point of where both Ryder Kingsford and himself are 158.2, identical. So he's managed to stabilise the hurt that's going on and almost put a Band-Aid on it, because if he's got any hope of trying to stick with this Yamaha Young Gun, he needs to, I guess, stop the bleeding at this stage and then try to hopefully pick up the pace and perhaps hope that Ryder may come across some lapped riders that might not know they're about to be put a lap down.
Yeah, well, the leaderboard just on our left says 3 seconds down is the distance between them, but I think it's stretched out a little bit. Yeah, look at that, 4.495. So in that last lap, somewhere along the lines, he has come into some issues, maybe trying to get around some lap riders. There is our 4th place rider in Novak. He is having a bit of a lonely ride at the moment.
Yeah, he's dropped back about 4 seconds or so behind Caden Minia, who continues to impress. Top 3 as a 13-year-old kid. That is just mind-blowing.
The future that kid's got.
Oh, my gosh.
Insane, insane. So it's going to be great to see that progression over, well, even just over this year. You know, we're going to see him pick up so much more speed, more skills. The skill set will improve, and I think we'll see him at other rounds where he's really fighting up the front there in these races.
We've got 3 minutes on the clock, and let's see if we can look closely at Ryder Kingsford and see if we can see a difference in the demeanour and how he's carrying himself. It looks like Blake Fox is just letting it all hang out.
I think Fox is putting in at the moment. I would say there was a small mistake, but I think he's responded also, Kingsford. He looks like, yeah, he did close in on him, but it hasn't closed anymore. But what do we got left? 2 minutes 40. So there is, what are we saying, 3 laps? 3 more laps to go. That's still a long time in this race and plenty of time for Blake Fox to get up there and put that pressure on. And there's the pressure right there. Wow, what a save that was by Kingsford. That is one area you do not want to get sideways and out of control on.
Well, those whoops, they're the traditional roller whoops that you sometimes get on motocross tracks. And what we get here at Wonthaggi, they stay nice and rounded on top, but they get this really sharp, scalloped part to the bottom half of it. And what you need to do, you have to stay in the top 2/3 of those whoops. If you let any of your wheels, it doesn't matter front or back, go down to that bottom 1/3 of the whoop, it hits a really sharp ledge and it almost either throws you over the bars or slows your momentum right down. Now, Ryder Kingsford let both of his wheels drop right the way down there, and I'm sure that's something, he's a quick learner, he won't let that happen again.
Realistically, that should have allowed Fox to jump straight up there and pounce on that situation, but again, Kingsford he's staying composed.
Well, I believe what I saw in the very next corner is Ryder Kingsford slightly tagged the hay bale in the left-hander after that whoops, and I could just see in the bottom left-hand of the corner, I could see Blake Fox just sent an explosion of hay bale in the air. Now, I think that would have slowed down any form of momentum that he may have gained catching up to Ryder Kingsford there was destroyed by that hay bale.
Yeah, that on screen a second ago was exactly what we spoke of earlier in our track preview. That was those whoops that have really played havoc on a lot of riders. You can see, from a rider point of view, it is a horrible section to go through because you just can't keep that good momentum going through. You're just bouncing and hitting, and it just there doesn't seem like there's any forward momentum through it. And these younger riders are really struggling to get through it, and the small amount of power doesn't help in that situation either.
The small amount of power, and you've got to remember these younger kids, they don't have as much strength. They might be tall and lean, they haven't developed the muscle yet. So to hang on to one of these bikes, that's still, yeah, they might not have as much power, but they're still as tall as a big 450, you know? So they've got to try to hold on to these bikes in some very tricky and tough technical sections, that's for sure. 15 seconds to go on the clock before these guys are going to get this race round up, and they're going to receive the last lap board. So they'll be on 2 laps to go at the moment, and Blake Fox, he knows that the overall is on the line here, and he's reeled him into the point of he's in roost range at the moment. So, you know, he's copping a little bit of roost from that Yamaha 250, but he's ready if the opportunity presents itself. I don't like that line there. However, it does tend to make up a little bit by the time they do the on-off section there.
Well, desperate times right now. It's the Blake Fox really wanting to put that pressure on. The bike's sitting very well underneath him.
He's such a tall kid. He makes it look really stable and settled, doesn't he? And Ryder Kingsford managed to pull out about half a second right there. But they're about to receive the last lap board here. It's go time. And another little mistake from Blake Fox right there. He's dropped back a good...
Can't afford to do that, you know. We saw Kingsford get straight around. Yellow flag is out. bad timing. No, there is Kingsford, so he is still okay. Blake Fox is there, still in striking range. That is the downed rider that we saw the yellow flag for. Another rider down in the next turn. So these riders are very, very much struggling with these conditions as we head towards the finish line. They should receive the last lap board around this time. There it is. Blake Fox has one more lap to try and make this happen. It's all or nothing right now for the overall. Still a good way to start out your series, but if he wants that overall, he's really going to have to push for it. There is 46. Kobe Drew had a great first moto. Was up there in the, it was a top 3, I think it was, or yeah, 3rd place in the first one. He sits back there in 5th at the moment.
He does. We've also got Caden Minia. Those two are going to be very close to tied on points, and Benny Novak was also in the mix.
Yeah.
Those three, it's going to, we'll have to, we'll try to keep you updated with those points because all 3 of those riders have been exceptionally consistent. However, it's one thing to be consistent, but you need to be consistently brilliant, and that's what Ryder Kingsford and Blake Fox have both been. If things stay the way they are, they're going to end up with a win apiece, but Ryder Kingsford will be the one that comes out on top. Now, having followed Ryder pretty closely from these last few years, I'm telling you, it's going to be a long shot for him to make a mistake and lose it from here. He's got a good head on his shoulders for such a young junior, and he very, very rarely makes mistakes. So from here, I think he's just going to ride it on in, and it's going to be very, very tough for Blake Fox. We're coming through the last third of the track, but as we know, this is the most treacherous part of the circuit.
He's been solid through this part though. Every single lap, especially down into this part, he's been very confident. Oh, there is Fox though, he's right there. So any kind of mistake, it leads up into those big rolling whoops.
And here's where you need to make the decision. Ryder Kingsford, what do you do? Do you just smoothly make your way through here? Well, no, he did that exceptionally well. And I think he's managed to pull that lead out again. He's fast through this section here, and he's got 2 corners to go. Let's hope that he keeps it, no problem whatsoever. He's managed to keep it on 2 wheels. What an incredible ride for the Yamaha junior rider. Ryder Kingsford takes heat number 2 and the overall victory in the Maxxis tyres MX3 here at Wonthaggi. What an incredible ride.
Fantastic ride. Really shows the talent in this field, doesn't it? And what we can expect as we move forward in this championship. A lot of guys are going to learn a lot from this class. Excellent work to develop this class and create it so that we can improve all of our upcoming riders. As we look at the Moto number 2 results, Ryder Kingsford takes the win, not on a YZ85, he is on a 250. Blake Fox, he is in 2nd. Caden Minia runs there in 3rd. Kobe Drew. Ben Novak with another good ride. Brock Flynn was putting a charge in there early, but maybe a little incident there slowed his pace up as well. Jack Mather also up there. Tyan Keane had a good race. Connor Towell after a great start back there in 10th place.
Yeah, Liam Atkinson now is expecting a little bit more from the WA rider back there in 11th place. And we see the factory KTM rider Ryan Alexanderson in 13th, back in 14th, Campbell Williams. Some big names back and out of the top 10 there. Rory Fairbrother as well down in the list.
We're really looking forward to seeing these guys at the next rounds. It's really a great class, so really looking forward to it as we head down to Rihanna with our top 3 places.
What an awesome way to kick off the season for the Maxxis MX3 for 2021. Congratulations to Caden Minia on the KTM. Congratulations, mate. Awesome way to kick off your season.
Yeah, just had a good start, carried on my race, and yeah, I was feeling good.
Our youngest rider in the category, Caden Minia on the KTM bike. And then we have in 2nd place on the gas cast machine, Blake Fox. You took the victory in Moto 1, 2nd place in Moto 2. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for that. Again, track got beat up. Like to give up a rider. I knew he'd be on if he had a good start in that second one, and yeah, he got out front. Managed to get up, make the pass. Hit a bit of a dead spot there for a couple of laps, and he got back around me and tried to fight back. Just ran out of time, and yeah, get up to the boys. They're all riding unreal, so yeah.
Awesome job by Blake Fox and taking out the victory in the 2nd moto of the day on the Yamaha Junior Racing Team. Congratulations, Ryder Kingsford. Awesome job.
Yeah, first moto I got off to a pretty average start and didn't get the greatest of positions at the start. And this time I got 2nd moto, I got a lot better start, got the whole shot, and then Blake passed me, and then I just sort of rode solid, and Blake made a mistake, and I capitalised on it, and then just rode my own race with him. It came out with the win, so super stoked. Thank you.
Congratulations to our podium getters, Caden Minia, Blake Fox and Ryder Kingsford in the Maxxis MX3 Moto number 2.
All right, guys, off for a commercial break now. Don't go anywhere, though, because when we come back, it's MX2 time. Stick around.
Stephen Gore, 4 times Mr. Motocross champion, 5 times Australian champion. Steve, you've seen a lot of evolution through the sport of motocross. You've been around a very long time. You've seen a lot of changes. How does it compare to when you won your championships and say how the championships of today stack up?
Well, it really is very, very different, Danny. Back in my day, in the mid-70s when I started, it was very unprofessional. And I think I brought a lot of professionalism to the sport, both in training, both in psychology and the mental side of things with psychology. So it's really evolved over the years. And we went into a bit of a hiatus on motocross for a while and more into supercross. And then the fitness wasn't as important. But nowadays, the fitness is critical. It's really, really important. And the sport's really jumped to a higher level because of the necessity to have that fitness out there.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved, so that level has definitely come up a lot more, hasn't it? It's really something that you see the top level riders have to be on the top of their game now.
Oh, they most certainly have to, and it's just critical. And you look at America now, they're all super fit guys. They train for many, many months beforehand the seasons get started, and it's just so critical now.
One thing, Steve, also that you are very well known for is your versatility. You did a good stint in motocross, obviously. You also tried your hand at some flat tracks, some road racing, and even in the four wheels. Tell us a little bit about that, how it helped you across the board with all your skills, and then why aren't we seeing more of that today?
Yeah, well, the first thing, Danny, is I love the sport and I wanted to try everything, with road racing, desert, all those things. And I wasn't scared to go fast either, whether it was a road race or 100 mile an hour, 160 kilometres an hour out in the desert at Fink. It didn't really scare me too much. But nowadays, well, let's go back. Why I did it was it really helped my skill on the motocross bike, and that was where I was being paid to ride the motocross. So mid-corner speed, different aspects of motocross is very, very important. So it really, really made a big difference. Nowadays, it's too difficult for the guys to do this because there's big sponsorship. They can't really afford to go and get hurt maybe in a one-off deal like the Fink. So I can understand why they're not doing it, but I really think that they're missing out, particularly dirt track side, mid-corner speed, braking, drifting. It's a big help to overall technique.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, the big question though, I guess, for today, round one, brand new championship. You've been around a long time, you know a lot of the riders. Put your money where your mouth is. 1, 2, 3 for the day. How do you think it's going to pan out?
Oh, mate, you've really caught me there. So I haven't really analysed the game that much with the current entries. But in the MX2, I'd have to lean to Kyle Webster at the moment. This is a sand track. He likes sand. He comes from WA. I think Kyle will be right up there. And in the MX1, well, that's tough. It's going to be really tough. Really don't want to put a name out there on any one rider because I want to sit on the fence a little bit because it is going to be tough.
Stephen Gore, absolute legend in motocross. Thank you very much for your time. It's great to get an insight as to what you've seen in the changed motocross over all these years.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. It's a great sport. I still love it after so many years, and let's keep powering to the future.
And welcome back to the Penrite ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores here at Wonthaggi. And what a day it has been so far. Let's head down to Rihanna. She's down on the starting line. What have you got for us, Rihanna?
Yeah, how exciting is it to have motocross racing back live in Australia? You guys were questioning why Nathan Crawford from the Circuit Yamaha team had chosen this outside gate as they took off for their sighting lap. I just questioned the mechanic. He said if you have a look down ahead of him, this part of the track, it is the driest part of the track. Less wheel spin, more traction. He is going for this whole shot as we start the Moto 2 of this MX2 race. Can't wait.
Great little pickup there, Rihanna. I tell you, I know there's been some mud races here. Well, not just here at Wonthaggi, but a lot of different tracks around the country where quite often you'll find, actually Horsham is one where the middle will get ripped and get extremely muddy. But if you can get into the far outside, you can quite often get some nice grassy, a lot of grip and pull a massive hole shot. Let's take a look at the lineup for MX2 Moto 2, Danny Ham.
Zachary Watson is out there. Ricky Latimer, Alex Larwood was very fast earlier on.
Incredible.
Jay Wilson, we expect to be out there. James Davison, Jesse Bishop, Brandon Steele, Jesse Dobson, who had a very fast race. A few moments, though, in that Moto number 1. Reece Budd is also out there on the 22.
Now, let's briefly touch on Moto 1 and what an incredible race for Kyle Webster, who was almost untouchable. It was only really Alex Larwood who was able to sort of semi-stay with him. And wonder if Kyle Webster will be able to come up trumps again here in Moto 2 and make it a double victory. We're about to find out.
Well, the guys, there's plenty of nervous down there on the start line at the moment. MX2 is about to get underway for Moto number 2. And there was plenty of pace early on. The 5-second board has turned sideways. We are set to get this one underway. Who will jump out first? Oh, wheel spin by Crawford there. Is that going to hurt him? I think so.
Yeah.
Out wide. Oh, he's going to sweep around. Not too bad a start. There is a Serco Yamaha right there in the middle. A Yamaha up the inside. I can't pick up that number. It doesn't appear to be someone that is one of the top guys, I don't think. But what a start. One rider down in the first turn, a Husky rider. As we try and pick up our riders, there is Jay Constantino.
Jai Constantino.
Yep.
Another top 3. Looks he's either second or third.
Another rider just
there
down
we
the
see
back.
Alex Larwood. His model. Kyle Webster is ahead of Reece Budd there as he already got himself into the lead. He has. Now that spells disaster for the rest of the pack. Reece Budd, an incredible start. But Jai Constantino, I can't say enough about this young lad. An incredible ride in that first one until he had a mistake and dropped himself back into the middle of the pack. But he was top 3 for so long. Kyle Webster's already starting to check out.
There is Crawford up the inside. So a great start by Crawford certainly helped, but the whole shot has been awarded to the 22 machine of Reece Budd. The 7 whole shot award to Reece Budd. So a good start. We expected Reece Budd to be up there more last race. A few little problems, I think. He is one of the contenders that should be running up the front, but I tell you what, there is no one at the moment as it sits that's going to be able to run the pace of this guy, the 96 of Kyle Webster on that Honda.
Well, when he's in a position like this, it's just so rare to see, you know, any massive form of mistakes from Kyle Webster. He's just so rock solid when the track gets deep and soft. And traditionally, he doesn't normally get great starts. So to see him come out after such a good, solid victory in that first race, to come out and do what he's doing here, I think it's going to be pretty clear sailing. I don't want to make too many predictions here, but to go 1-1 at round 1 here at Wonthaggi will be incredible and an amazing way to start the season for the factory Honda rider.
One guy I did catch a brief glimpse of a moment ago, as I will get back to that in a second, as we see Jai going around the outside of Reece Budd. That was a brave move right there. 184 also having some troubles. It's Emma
Milicevic.
Yes.
Yeah. She's one of Australia's best women female racers. Incredibly strong out there on the bike, and so good to see her out there mixing it up in the MX2 category.
Well, Crawford, a great run around the outside, more momentum coming out of that rut, and got himself over that jump just that little bit faster, and has helped him make that pass on Reece Budd. Now sits in 3rd place. So that start, although I doubted it, I tell you what,
he didn't even jump out of the gate well. Imagine if he didn't start wheel spinning before that drop of the gate. Now, we had prime position because the cameraman was right next to him. His wheel, Jai, big mistake, nearly going down. But are we starting to see the kind of lap times that we can see from Nathan Crawford, where if he can sneak up into 2nd place and get a little bit of clear air in front of him, he can perhaps start to travel along at the same lap time speeds as Kyle Webster. It's a tall shot, it's a long call, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I tell you what, this is exactly where our cameras need to be right now. This 6 riders right here, this is
Wilson.
Perfect. Wilson, everyone. You're going to have Dobson coming on the back of that as well. You know, Jai Roberts, I was going to bring that up. Jai Roberts returning to racing after a huge hiatus after a big crash. So you got all of these guys there. Is Roberts on the 100 right on screen right now. he has spent nearly 2 years off the bike.
Well, let's talk about Jai Roberts for a second. He had the red plate, was leading when he had a massive crash. He was in a coma. He almost died. He was out for that long. He couldn't remember anything when he came back. You almost need to teach himself how to talk, walk, do all the things that we take for granted. He had to learn all those things again. So it wasn't just a matter of, oh, let my body and my mind heal and I'll get back on the bike. He had to learn how to be a human again. So to see him out here racing at this level is absolutely incredible. Jai Constantino, what a breakthrough race for this guy. Victorian, he's been through a lot of injuries. He's got so much potential. It doesn't matter if you watch this kid on a BMX, on a mountain bike. I like to call him the trail rat. That's what he likes to go by. It's his nice little nickname. He is so talented on anything two wheels, but he is yet to show his full potential, and he's out there doing that at the moment.
And in front of all these big name riders, big teams, what a ride by him. Crawford still sits there in third, but I tell you, he has got some pressure right now from Dobson. Jesse Dobson, the 14 machine, just to your right of the screen. He is really closing in. Was right on the back wheel just a moment ago. Maybe a slight mistake as they come past our mechanics area. Have a look at the gap that our leader has right now. There is Jai in second place. Dobson now in the screen, and Crawford and then Dobson as they come past. There is Jay Wilson with a much better ride this time around.
And it looks like Reece Budd's managing to make his way back a little bit. He's gone from up there in the top two back to sixth place now. I know Reece Budd, he came through in my junior program. He's such a talented rider, but he always suffered from a little bit of arm pump, right? Now, if you watch him really closely, he rides super strong, elbows really high. He's such a bulldog of a rider. And on a track like this where you need to stay nice and loose, you can be susceptible to pumping up a little bit. So let's hope, have a look at the intensity that Dobson threw it into the corner. Now, Hammy, you and I have been teammates a number of times, right? Now, you would back me in when I say you never want to get beaten by anyone out there on the track, but the worst person to get beaten by is your teammate, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to get beaten by your teammate. Now, these two have got their own little battle going on. There is nothing worse than having, it's like a red flag being waved in front of you, like you're over in Spain with the run of the bulls or something. You're just like, please, I need to get past you, and they'll do whatever it takes to get past. However, you might not want to take each other out. That might not go down too well.
No, last thing you need is to face the wrath of someone like Gav from Serco as you come back into the track if you've taken your fellow team rider down. But there's a little sections of the track, isn't there, that one of these riders is stronger than the other. We saw Dobson right on the back wheel as we got through those big sweeping left-handers and right-handers. And this part here seems to be a bit better for Crawford. By the time they come back across in front of the mechanics area, Crawford has that gap out just a little bit more. Tailing on the back of that now, though, look at that. Larwood has cleared Wilson.
Yep.
And he is moving forwards. Wow, what a ride.
He's on a charge, the young 17-year-old. Incredible ride from Larwood, especially after his second place. He's not going to want to be back there. He's going to want to try to get past these guys. However, it's no mean feat to pass the two Serco Yamaha boys. However, while this is happening, it's given Jai Constantino a little bit of reprieve. He's managed to have a little bit of room to be able to play around by himself. And in effect, it almost feels like a midweek practice session where you're just out there trying to hit your markers, not make any mistakes, string together lap after lap after lap. It's almost like you're running off the stopwatch. And it's at times like this when it's good for your mechanic to be putting out lap times for you so you can try to hit your markers time and time again.
Jai Constantino is about to get some pressure from Crawford. A lap rider goes down right in front of him. Jai has had to make an evasive manoeuvre and get around him. There is a good battle there. Four riders all tighten themselves up at the moment.
And unfortunately, poor Jai Constantino was in the rut that lap rider had gone down.
Look at this.
And that has dropped him back into the clutches of these two boys. A double foot dab from Jesse Dobson. That will strain the old adductor muscles before you know it.
Jai is doing everything he can. Now, he made it around about 15 minutes last time, didn't he, before a mistake that put him back just a little bit, but the pressure is on right now as Crawford tries to blast around the outside. He's going to control the inside. He's going to have to push it in hard if he wants to make this pass. He certainly does. And Nathan Crawford has moved himself up into second place. Can Jesse Dobson do the same right now and not let Crawford get away? It's almost like Crawford has found another gear.
Yeah, it is almost like he found another gear, and this is where Jai Constantino, as exceptional as the ride has been so far, he needs to not let this unravel. He needs to finish off the job that he started here. Now let's have a quick look at the replay here in the pass with Nathan Crawford. Snuck it up the inside on a very technical part of the track where the bike can go side to side. Now let's, I was hoping they were going to show the little kick into the corner there.
Yeah, I thought they were going to show that again. It was a close moment, but when you're pushing those kind of levels, you really need that last lap time can't be right.
We're waiting to have a look on screen because, ladies and gentlemen, our lap times are telling us that a 1:58 was done by Kyle Webster in the last time and a 1:51 from Nathan Crawford. Now, if that's correct, let's drop the gap down to only 4.5 seconds. Now, I'm just hoping it's just a little bit of a mistake, perhaps, from Kyle Webster, and he's going to get back on those rails again. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to pick up back, if we can pan out just a little bit and have a look and see where Nathan Crawford is, if he actually, in fact, is 4.5 seconds back. We could have a race on our hands.
If those times are correct, as we see there is just entering into the corner right now is Crawford, so still a little ways back at the moment, not quite close enough, but we do see Dobson now putting all that pressure on Jai as they head up towards this tabletop. A couple more left riders are going to play into it. Larwood's speed that we saw a moment ago could be a little bit stalled as we see Dobson up the inside. It's a carbon copy from the lap before. Serco Yamaha riders moving past Jai as they go now into second and third place.
Now, a couple of corners back, I just saw a tiny little puff of smoke come out the back of Jesse Dobson's bike. So let's keep a look on that there. I know it's not exceptionally deep. The rain hasn't been falling. It's not too gnarly out there at the moment. So let's hope that was just a little one-off situation. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that one. Doesn't look to be doing any more of it.
Webster still looking strong out in front now. I don't remember the camera looking like this the last lap around, and if you look in the background, the rains are back once again. There's been one race today that hasn't had a rain.
Yeah, the 125.
The 125.
Jack Simpson came in looking as if he'd just been out for a photo shoot, shall we say. Every other race, there's been some kind of storm that come through, and most of them have held some kind of hail. Now, I want to look through when our leaders come through at the end of this lap. I want to watch the last lap. The time stabilised and we had Kyle Webster with a 151 and Nathan Crawford with a 151. Likewise, Dobson was a 151. Now, it looks to me as if Crawford may have edged just that little bit closer. We'll have to have a look at these times when they come across the finish line.
Very interesting fact to see how these riders are starting to settle into this race. Half race distance we're about to enter right now, so I guess they are taking a bit of a pause, you would think, in their riding, trying to maintain a little bit of energy towards the end of the race, you know, before they do a final big charge towards the last 5 or so minutes of this race. But their times are still pretty quick. They almost matched once again.
And they both dropped down 1 second faster than last time, both in the mid 152s. So Kyle Webster has responded and he knows what he needs to do. And once again, we see him coming past the camera. He's got a good 4.5 to 5 second lead. Now, there's still 10 minutes to go in this race. Anything can happen. You need to bank on the fact of Kyle Webster's fitness. He can keep going at this pace all day long. However, I've seen many races where Crawford charges all the way to the finish. So it could come into a mind games thing here as Webster's bike steps out to the side entering that corner.
Well,
it's little things like that combined with, if you have a little look over your shoulder coming out of the corner and you see the guy in second has made up 2 meters on you, that can start to play on your mind a little bit.
Yeah, well, it also happened the corner before that one. He has made a couple of mistakes this lap, and you're right. These riders can see the guy in front, the guy behind, and you know when they've made up even 1 meter, and you start playing on your mind. Where am I going slow? Where am I going fast? What have I got to do differently? And all of a sudden, these little mistakes start showing up. And that's when you will have the rider catching you up more and more and more.
Now, I just saw that on the little screen in the bottom right-hand part of the TV there, you would have noticed WBR bulk nutrients rider Liam Andrews had some kind of drama. He was in with his mechanic there, and hopefully we can see him back out on the track ASAP.
Have a look at this, Serco. The two boys are together right now, so a little mistake somewhere around the track has certainly put the back of the 199 Crawford machine under fire from Jesse Dobson. I did think as they were coming through, it looked like there was a bit of more gap between Crawford and our leader, and this will show us why, because they are really in a battle at the moment. The two Serco Yamaha riders once again are going to be going at it. I'll tell you what, it's really going to be tough for these two to continue this sort of momentum forwards and not make these mistakes.
I tell you, this track is so difficult at the moment. My brain is hurting just trying to comprehend getting around this track. These guys are making it look no problem whatsoever. However, you need to remember 6 minutes still left on the clock, 25 minutes duration plus 1 lap. This is tough going out here on a track this tough, that we've got 2 teammates next to each other. This is really going to showcase who's been putting in the majority of the training, the hard work. Don't you just love a full roll of film from your roll-offs just flapping out the back?
Hugh McKay lost all vision when he went around there then. It's Dylan Wills, mechanic right there, just giving him some information as to what he needs to do, how long left in this race.
Kyle Webster has just dropped a 150.3 lap time, and that has stretched himself out another 2 seconds ahead of Nathan Crawford. He is really grabbing the bull by the horns here in Moto 2, the MX2 class, brought to you by Pirelli.
Crawford also has found a little bit of breathing space over the third place rider of Jesse Dobson. Now I know Dobson in the tighter stuff before the finish line got caught up behind a couple of lapped riders, and that's all it takes. Look at the gap he's got again, just from one small mistake. It's not really a mistake, but just didn't read the situation properly, Jesse Dobson, and got caught up behind that lapped rider and allowed him to get away. And mentally, that's hard. That almost, if you're mentally strong, you can overcome it, but it could be a breaking point for Dobson right now.
Well, that's a massive gap back to Dobson now.
It's huge. It's huge. So that might have been all it took for Crawford to keep that position there in second place. But I tell you, Dobson is not that far in front of Larwood right now.
Yeah, well, I briefly mentioned before about Nathan Crawford and how quite a few times in the past over the years, I've seen him come from terrible starts and charge right the way through. Now, I don't know what his off-season's been like. Technically, I don't know whether he's coming back from an injury or what, but we're about to see the Nathan Crawford that I know. He'll charge all the way to the finish line, and he's not going to fade at all. Unfortunately for him, he's up against the workhorse, the fittest of all of the MX2 riders, Kyle Webster, who only knows one speed. I can guarantee you he's got enough energy in the tank to do 40 minutes, Hammy.
Without a doubt, he'll be able to make it all the way through to this one. And this is a textbook performance, isn't it, by Kyle Webster on screen. A few little mistakes here and there, but majority of his race has been almost perfection.
And did you just see there in that technical rut? Now, that's something that the really good riders do. Ruts typically are beautiful for the first 3 quarters. As you come out, they start to get a little bit bumpy and choppy, and they'll kick your bike around. He used the first half of the rut, and he didn't accidentally pop out of the rut. He chose to exit the rut 3/4 of the way through and drove through smooth, really nice dirt. That's incredible technique, and something that any of the kids at home that do any of their own form of riding, you need to watch this stuff carefully. You can pick up on some exceptional technique.
Really is finding some good lines, isn't he? He's developing his own lines. There is Reece Budd He's also still continuing on, trying to, we're still right there on the back wheel of Wilson. Now, I was expecting a little bit more out of Wilson, but, you know, still solid performance to start the championship. We know that Wilson is very fast and will be up there in later championship rounds. But I definitely did expect Wilson to be up there just a little bit more.
Now, let me just quickly take our attention to our lap times here, and something that I'm really impressed with, and something that we should always try to remember: if you can try near the end of a race to keep your fastest lap time all the way towards the finish. You don't want to be dropping off 2 or 3 seconds a lap to your fastest. That means you're fading, you're not fit enough. And let's have a look here. Nathan Crawford, his fastest time was a 1:51. Well, the very last lap, sure, he got a 1:53. The lap before, he did a 1:51. So he's keeping his times right the way up to his sprint pace. We've got Dobson, whose fastest time was a 1:51. The last lap, he was a 1:52. And this is really impressive from these guys, just to show that kind of pace. And it's not like they're easing their way into it. They're sprinting straight from the get-go.
I can promise you, if you went up to those riders, as we just saw Reece Budd and Jay Wilson go through there, if you went up to any of these riders and said, what was the worst part on this track, it would be those rollers. That'll be their answer every single time.
Yes, without a doubt, for sure. I don't get arm pumped just looking at that. But, you know, the likes of Kyle Webster just make it look so easy coming through. But you got to remember, they train on this kind of stuff all the time. The more homework you can do midweek makes your weekends that much easier as well. And it's a prime example here. Kyle Webster out there on the factory Honda racing machine, the CRF 250R. What an incredible day it's been for the Honda team, and we must just briefly touch on, he's staring down the barrel of a clean sweep here, and Brett Metcalf won Moto 1 in the MX1 category as well. So Yuriv Konski would be all smiles down there. I know we've got some of the big bosses of Honda here today as well, and all the manufacturers represented exceptionally well here. What a great way to start the first round of a series with new promoter, with Motorcycling Australia, the Penrite Oils ProMX Australian Motocross Championships. Just an incredible way to start the series.
Webster around towards the finish line, and we should see the last lap board. There it is. One more time around for Webster on the 96 machine. And he still looks so comfortable on that bike right now, working his way through the rollers for the last time. And I can promise you, there is the biggest smile under that helmet right now. He was very happy after the first round as we interviewed him. After his first win, he felt comfortable. He didn't even look like he was breathing hard. And I think, as you said, he is one of the fittest guys out there. He is not struggling at all.
No, he's doing it with ease at the moment, and he loves this part of the race. And in fact, I almost think sometimes he prefers to be battling with someone at this part of the race. You remember a couple of years ago, the last time we ran the National Championship, he was in a position battling with Wilson Todd, and it come right down to the wire. I remember watching those two battle, just going hammer and tongs right the way through to the final lap. This is a good, fun way to do it, though. This is a nice, not too much pressure on, just edging his way ever so close to the finish line. He's stretched out that lead now to 14 seconds over second place. What an immaculate day for the Honda rider.
I'll just point out, too, that that's Dylan Will just there. He just passed 24. He's just about to go past Chandler Burns. Chandler's in 10th.
I know.
He is lapped all the way through to 10th place. Will's up the inside there of Burns, trying to make that position up. Wills was there in 11th. Now he sits in 10th, so one more spot for him. A solid ride to get top 10 in MX2 at this level. But on a track like this, there is just some guys that shine. And right now, the Honda rider of Kyle Webster has done absolutely everything right today.
He certainly has, as he makes his way towards the finish line. What a day. He has barely seen nothing but daylight ahead of him as he comes through the final corner, up and over the finish line. A spectacular double victory for Kyle Webster and the factory Honda rider in the MX2 Moto 2 checkered flag right there, brought to you by Pirelli. And he is pumped. A big fist pump, double fist pump down onto the handlebars there. And as we were talking about before, Jai Constantino,
Crawford, Larwood.
Wow, where did Larwood come from? That was a very, very close finish. I need to quickly pay respect there to Jai Constantino holding on to 5th place, and that is his most impressive ride.
Wilson here trying to get to the end of the race as a few of the backmarker riders also having their own race right in the middle of this, just to finish out the day. Bud in front of Wilson right at the end there.
MX2 Moto 2 and a win by Kyle Webster. No, a clean sweep by Kyle Webster. Fantastic job.
Dominating performance, really schooled the rest of the field here today. Nathan Crawford came across in 2nd place. Jesse Dobson, Alex Larwood, really impressed with the way he rode. Jay Constantino, he is someone to watch for in the next few rounds as well.
So impressed with Jai. Great ride from Reese Budd as well. Jay Wilson, not quite what we expect from him. We'll see more later in the year. Hugh McKay from over in Tasmania. Jai Roberts, we spoke about him earlier. Fantastic comeback from injury. And Dylan Wills.
Plenty of riders still out there working their way around and having an absolute ball racing at this level. There's a lot of good riders out there still to go. We're going to go down to Rihanna now with our winners.
What an awesome day of racing to kick off the season for 2021. The Pirelli MX2 Championship in 3rd position on the Serco Yamaha bike. Jesse Dobson, congratulations, Jesse. As you just said off camera, it's been a hell of a day out there for you guys.
Yeah, it has. I feel like we've had everything thrown at us, from sun to rain to the cold wind. It's been pretty crazy. So I'm glad to get out of this one nice and safe and with a solid result. So
congratulations to be on the podium for the first event of the year. And in 2nd place, we spoke about his gate choice at the start of the race. He started from the outside, but it did well for him on the podium in 2nd place. Nathan Crawford, congratulations.
Yeah, that was a bit of a, I feel like it was a smart tactic for me. It was safe out there. There was always a bit of carnage in that first turn on the inside. So it's been a hell of a ride. The last 6 weeks ago today, I broke my shoulder, and it was a question mark whether I was even going to be here. And to land on the podium, honestly, I couldn't be happier. It's been a long 6 weeks. A lot of mental strength was tested, and yeah, just happy to be here.
It's an awesome day for the Serco Yamaha team, and taking out the victory once again for the Honda Racing team, we have Kyle Webster. Congratulations, Kyle. What an awesome day you've had so far.
Yeah, it's been great. So honestly, I couldn't have wanted to start the championship off in a better way. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than a massive thanks to our sponsors, my team, everyone who stuck behind us during the tough times during COVID, and yeah, to get the round win is a good thank you towards them, and yeah, no, it's much appreciated.
Just talk us through how difficult it has been here today. The conditions have thrown everything at you, but to get 2 wins, I mean, it's certainly been fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a classic day down here in Melbourne, 4 seasons in one day. So no, it was good. I'm stoked. You know, it was definitely tough. The track was gnarly, and shout out to Ross Beaton, who put in an awesome effort to keep the track the way it is with how much rain we got over this weekend. So thanks to everybody, and yeah, get ready for Canberra.
Congratulations to our 3 podium place getters for the Pirelli MX2 Moto 2. We had Jesse Dobson, Nathan Crawford and Kyle Webster.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to tune in for round 2 of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championship as it heads to Canberra May the 2nd. Do not miss out. We've got all the same live coverage and, of course, live streaming to come your way. Now, we're going to go back down to Rihanna.
We can't wait to bring you all the action from round 2 in Canberra. That is the 2nd of May of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by the AMX Superstores. Danny, thanks very much for all your hard work. Lee Hogan, thanks very much for your hard work in commentary. Boys, we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time bringing you all the action for round 2.